Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint some tropical leaves. We're going to be doing a Monstera plant and some other, unknown tropicals. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think, and I'm going to really simplify this image and make it a really good one for beginners, I think. I've got my husband, Mark, with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's been in chat for our live show today, so if you've got questions while I'm painting, you can ask them, and I'll try to answer them. Let's get started. So I decided to upsize my canvas a little bit from our normal size. I usually use like a 9 by 12 inch. I used 11 by 14 this time. Really any size that works for you is going to be good. The larger sizes are going to make it a little bit easier to do the kind of sweeping brush strokes that I want to do for this project. So that's why I chose a little bit larger canvases. Sometimes the smaller canvases make you paint a little bit tighter, a little bit more in detail. You can't get these larger sweeping brush strokes. And in fact, this one would be great on a really, really large canvas. I think it would be amazing. So if you've got a large one that you've been looking for a project for, I think that this one would be a good choice. I painted it just with regular carbon black, just any black will do. And then I drew on there with school chalk to mark out the boundaries of our leaves. I'll go over the drawing here in a minute. Our brushes that we'll be using are number 8 bright and number 4 bright. And then I've got a number 4 Filbert, short Filbert, and 6 angle bright, 4 round, 2 round, and 2 aught round. Really any size brushes will work. I'm using the Aspen Princeton ones because they're a little bit stiffer bristles, a little bit coarser fibers, so they're going to give me a little bit more texture when I paint. I'm going to probably paint a little bit more like dry brushed today because we're doing the black background. Dry brushing works really well on a black canvas. Let's go over our colors. We've got pretty limited palette, carbon black, burnt sienna, yellow, cadmium yellow light, phthalo green yellow shade, cobalt teal, phthalo blue green shade, Quinacridone Magenta. Don't know why I'm having a hard time with colors today. Unbleached Titanium and Titanium White. And this one is Glazing medium. Now, really, we could do these two colors, this green and the cobalt teal, with the phthalo green and yellow. So you can leave these out if you don't have a green. Really, your cadmium yellow light, that's a really bright, vivid yellow, so a lemony yellow. This plus phthalo blue green shade, and then your Quinacridone Magenta make a really good 3-color basic primary color wheel. So you could just use those 3 colors and get away with it, and then maybe you could even do away with the burnt sienna probably, because the 3 of those together is going to make a brown. So we're just going to have the brown to edit, but we've got the other 2 colors there to just speed things up. But really, you could do this with your primary colors. But the magenta has got to be like that vivid magenta to get the pops of color that we're wanting. And I put this painting through a filter. Obviously, the colors were just green, green and black. And I decided I wanted a little bit more of a vivid contrast. So I put it through a filter to add the reds and the yellows into it. So that's
I hope it wasn't one of my coffee filters.
No.
Okay, good.
No. All right. Moving on. All right. I'm going to use, I think I want to use a little bit bigger pencil. I don't want anything too stuffy here. Okay. So the first thing I did when I'm drawing this is I want to do this. This main leaf in the middle is our focal point. So it's going to dominate the most of the space. So it's going to kind of start up here and come down to about here. And we're leaving a little bit of space on either top and bottom, couple inches or so. And then coming up and over, the Monstera leaf shape is a kind of general heart shape. It's not super pointy at the tip. It's kind of rounded out a little bit, and the top is kind of a general heart shape, but you're going to get the idea that's going to be our overall leaf shape. And then basically off of this main stem, or this main, stem, right? No, stem vein. It's going to be, sorry, when I get into my art brain, I have a hard time with words, so bear with me. We're going to cut out pieces of these leaves. So they're going to do this kind of rounded thing at the stem or at the main vein in the middle there. And then come out shooting off. And at the ends, they kind of blunt off like that. So they're kind of thick on the ends. And this leaf is going to be hidden by another leaf that's going to be right here. So we can kind of lay that one in a little bit so we don't waste time drawing where we aren't going to need to draw. So all of these are going to get cut off by this one that's right there. And then the top part has got another one. And I decided there's 2 leaves here, but I just decided to simplify it into one. So I brought it, and this is a 9x12. So I had a little bit more space to work with on my canvas. But I did another Monstera plant right in here that was meeting up with this one. And I basically kind of made this leaf disappear. So this one came up over the top and did like this. And there's just a little bit of these cutouts that we're going to see, these little rounded cutouts. So if you want to, you could draw your outside shape and then cut out your pieces of the leaves and then leave the outer leaves there. And the cutouts go up across from each other. So if you've got one here, you're going to want to do one on the other side. They're pretty symmetrical. There's veins that come off each side like this. So those cutouts are around those veins. Okay. So I'm just going to do, this one's got a pretty wide space right here. And then there's a nice big leaf right here. And another one right here. And these ones are all going to be going off into black. So that's one of the things that I really liked about this photograph is that there's a lot of black, a lot of dark space, and a lot of negative space that we can play with. So we can play with all these shadows and things in here. And it kind of makes it a little bit more interesting, the overlapping, I think, than having it just facing us straight on. So like this, and just continue to go around. And these ones, you're seeing a little bit more of the leaf coming down. So there's a big open space there. There's a space here. Vein, 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 vein. Right there. This is kind of a larger leaf right here. And again, all of this in here is going to be just basically disappearing into black. So we're not actually seeing the end of any of these leaves on this side. This, I'm just going to kind of generally, I'm not going to draw it in real carefully for you, but you're going to get the idea, hopefully. It's not a difficult one to draw. Okay, and then there's another leaf right in here that's coming in this way, and it's going off the edge. And again, we're just seeing parts of the leaves, so we can do this kind of middle part here. Yeah, we're just going to be suggesting kind of the general shape. And it's going off the canvas here. Right. Then up here, there was several leaves kind of overlapping, and I just decided to go ahead and do some of the same leaf, maybe like even just a simple palm leaf or something, but just some small leaves at the top there. And then here, let's go ahead and do this one here. Sounds like Spencer's back from his walk already. Fitzpickle, dog. I wonder how that went. Considering he wouldn't go up the neighbor's driveway yesterday, I'm pretty sure it probably didn't get very far with him. We need to get that dog out more often. He's a puppy. He's only 4 months old, and he's like super sheltered because of this pandemic. We haven't taken him anywhere. Hopefully. Okay, so here's this leaf. These leaves are going to be coming out. They're a little bit different kind of plant, and they're kind of a long banana-shaped leaf almost. Kind of long, thin, there, like that. And they're coming off this main stem. This one is coming out towards us. We're seeing kind of a heart shape at the top. And then these ones off to the side are like this. Okay, and then there's really nothing in this dark space here. I brought in some of the leaves out into that area just a little bit. Like that, and then there's some larger, same kind of plant here, just to fill in this space. And that's about it. Not too hard. I will have the traceable available for this, though, if you don't like to draw. And I went over that too fast. I know I went over it pretty quick. So those are available on Patreon for $2 a month. It's $2 a month for as many traceables as you want. You can just get one and cancel if you don't want to continue. Alrighty, let's go get to painting. So I think actually I'm going to start with a, let's go ahead and start with the round here, the number 2 round. And I'm just going to start out by kind of marking out some of the boundaries of some of these leaves. And I'm going to use the Cobalt Teal to do it. A little bit of glaze, thin it out a little bit. And just kind of maybe a little bit of white because I'm not seeing it show up. Going to get a little bit of yellow to do that main stem. And very lightly, just kind of brushing on. This is going to be just the kind of very beginnings of the details. So I'm not getting too fussy here. I just want to kind of start mapping out where these shapes are going to be. A little bit too much in that black. Get the black, fill that in. Okay. Doing that outer shape there, and then being deliberately kind of sketchy with my brush here. So using this brush and just sketching with it instead of doing a solid line. These kind of more coarse brushes make that a little bit easier to achieve. Okay, this is the leaf. I'm going to mark out where my leaves are because I'm having a hard time figuring out where my leaves are and where my dead space is. So that'll help, I guess, right? You know where my leaves are.
Yeah, that would be a good place to start.
Okay. Leaf. Oh, this leaf. Okay. Leaf. Okay, so this is my open space here. And really, I probably shouldn't be painting this part out here, so I'm going to just take my black and cover that up a little bit, because that's supposed to be dark. I'm going to leave it, but darken it up a little bit. Don't want it that light. Okay. Really, you could just do this and leave it. It looks kind of cool, just like this. So it's whatever stylistic, kind of thing you want to do with yours.
Yeah, that's coming along pretty quick.
Yeah, I think this one, if we do it in this style, it's not going to take too long to, get it to kind of come together.
And it's all on those quick, choppy.
Right. I think that's the key. It's just to keep, and I'm holding the brush, fairly far back. This is the nice thing about these longer handle brushes too, that you can get more leverage on these longer brush strokes. And this, having the longer handles and holding it farther back, helps you get a more loose style with your brush strokes. So you're going to end up painting a little bit more expressively.
So we usually explain to people why you choose to paint the canvas black rather than go with a black canvas.
Yes, because the black canvases are great, for a head start, but you still are going to have to paint it black, because if you, like in this case, when I'm adding this black here, any of those places where you're wanting to maybe cover over some of the, you covered some black that you didn't want to, or whatever, it's going to show. It's going to be a different color than your black that you're going to be putting on top. So that is the main reason. It's just your black is never going to match the gesso, the black gesso that was used for the canvas. So you might as well just paint it black, and save yourself the trouble. I do, if you're going to cover the black completely, then the black canvas is great, like if you're using the black as an undertone and you're covering it, with other black areas. But here I'm leaving the black. I'm not painting over the black again. So it really doesn't save me a step by having that painted black to start with. Okay. Love these. This is one that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I've had Monstera on my radar, and this has been, when I saw this photograph, it's like, that's the one. I've been looking and looking and looking, and sometimes it takes me a while to find just the right photo that I want to paint, that's kind of the thing that I had stuck in my brain. It can take a while. So I was going to kind of do it myself and kind of try to come up with something on my own, but I always like to have a good photograph to start with. It always just kind of turns out better that way. Unless you're lucky enough to have Monstera in your house and take a photograph of it yourself, which I don't.
Is that a hint?
No, they're not. I don't think they're a particularly easy plant to keep alive. So.
Oh, well, then that's off of our
not
list.
Us. Yeah, it's not us.
No. Not here at the Anderson Plant Hospice.
Where plants go to die.
Yes.
Bless them.
I am amazed that we got any vegetables this year.
We're pretty good with our vegetable garden, actually.
But something definitely didn't want us to have carrots this year.
No, our first crop of carrots was comical. They were all, they were all crinkled and wrinkly and had some very interesting shapes to them.
Yeah, we planted them way too close, so they crowded each other out and did some funky things. Then we planted a fall crop, took care, planted each seed, and they're stinking
super carefully. Separated them out really carefully.
Covered them. They started to pop up, and then that hurricane came through.
Yep.
And we had it covered, but the water was just too much for the cover and broke through. And then, so we'll try again next year. Because I'm not going to spend another couple hours planting individual carrot seeds.
You're done. Nobody got time for that.
At least not this year.
At least not this year, yeah. I think we need to do that. The method where that guy put him in gelatin. Did you see that one? He put all of the seeds in gelatin.
No.
Yeah. He did a gelatin slurry, and then he added the little seeds to it, and he put it in a Ziploc baggie and squirted them out like cake batter or like frosting into the different spots, and was able to separate them out that way. So seemed like
or we could just buy some from the store and stick them
easier method.
Stick them in the ground.
Stick them in the ground. Pretend like they're ours.
Exactly. So much easier
for you. See, this is really looking cool just like this, isn't it? I like it. I like how it's turning out.
So basically, you can take it any direction you want to.
Yeah, obviously, this is the beauty of these kind of paintings. It's just like, I really love painting from a black canvas. I don't know, there's something about it that makes it easier, I think, to get these kind of creative. I don't know. This is so dramatic, There's it's like a reveal. Every bit of color that you add is just, I'm taking off the chalk so I can see what I've painted here with the, make sure your paint's dry, obviously. Do this.
Pro tip.
It wasn't up here. Yeah. Spray my paints with water. I've just got water in a spray bottle here. It'll help you keep your paints moist. And every now and then dip in and get a little bit of water in your brush too. If you are ending up using a lot more paint than I do, a lot of times it's because you are not keeping your brush wet. That is one of the biggest culprits, I think. Mine's just off camera right now. Usually I have it kind of on camera, but it's right here. So when you see me kind of go like that, that's what I'm doing, picking up water. And really, you should be picking up water almost every time you're picking up paint. fun. I'm not really worried too much about where the highlights are at this point, although you can kind of keep an eye on that. But I'm going to be adding my shadows and things back in. I'm kind of leaving sort of, kind of like paying attention somewhat to where the shadows are on here. So like around the stem, there's some shadows. The stem is pretty bright on all of these. So I'll be going back in and adding more of the stem bright, colors. This is just kind of my initial sketching in of the shapes and things. Add a little bit more yellow here.
Okay, so you're using the same brush, right?
Mm-hmm.
The beginning, and can you remind us what that is?
It's the number 2 round.
Out of which line?
The Aspen.
The number 2 round Aspen.
Yes. But you could use the 2, or just it's close to like a number 4 in the Velvet Touch. I think it's a 2 in the. I think the Aspen and the 6100 series are about the same. So it's about the same in the 6100 series, but in there's a 3. So yeah, it's probably closer to a 4 in the Velvet Touch line. Each line of brushes is a little bit different. Yeah, there's the 4. Yep. So, oops. It's a fairly small, not super small, but fairly small round. These ones that are like this one back here that are kind of going off into the distance, I'm going to go a little bit lighter with them, leave a little bit more of that darker color. Okay, there we go. All right, so there's our first layer. Looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with this one. I'm not sure, this may be a little bit big, but we'll try it and see. I'm going to get a little bit of the Cobalt Teal and some of my Phthalo Blue and Phthalo and Burnt Sienna. The Burnt Sienna will tone it down, make it a little bit more turquoise color, like a dark turquoise. I can add some of my green also to make it even more turquoisey, and then that Cobalt Teal will be kind of just what we mix in with for the lighter color. So there we go. And I want it a little bit more green, so I'm going to add a little bit more of that Cobalt Teal, or Phthalo green, I mean. Okay, there we go. And I'm just going to use it up in here. I'm going to lay in some larger bits of color. Just in and around where I've already got color here. So where I might want to darken up some things. You can see how it's kind of going over these lighter areas, but it's not really covering over everything. That's what I want. I'm going to get some more of the light color. Put some of that on my brush. Get some yellow and some white here. Just mixing it in with what's on my brush. This is where I was talking about kind of that dry brush look. So that dry brush look would be if we're setting it down and kind of dragging it so that we're getting a broken line. It happens when you kind of run out of paint on the brush. So deliberately going to kind of get that effect by doing these kind of choppy brush strokes. Pulling in the direction that I want the paint to go on, but not fully pressing down so that it lifts up a little bit and it's just dragging against that canvas texture. It's not fully dry brush because I do have water in my brush, like a regular dry brush would be. Just, no water, but I don't really have to do it with no water to get that same effect. All I need to do is just kind of drag it and sort of lift. Get some of that teal. So this is where I'm kind of filling in most of my leaf, so I'm not leaving a whole lot of that black. There's a little bit of it showing here and there, but mostly I'm trying to kind of fill it in if I have a darker area than filling it in with my teal here instead of black. And this leaf in our photograph is quite a lot lighter than any of the other ones. It's pretty light, so I'm going to go a little bit lighter with my colors. But even along the stem line here, I'm leaving just a little bit of that black along that stem. That'll pop that stem out towards us if we do that. We go along the stem on either side and leave just a tiny bit of this dark. It pulls that stem forward. I'm going to go back in with my light color here, just on the edge of my brush. Draw that in, and then get some of the white, set it on there, and just drag it up. This is where it's really going to get dramatic. It's going to look a little bit like wow when you first do this with the highlights, but just bear with me. Be brave. So it gives it depth. So you got to have those lights in there. And it's going to dry a little bit darker than this. So, and we can always go over it. So if you get something on there and you don't like it, just paint over it. But you never know unless you try, right? So just kind of get in there and do it. See what happens.
So are you suggesting that the paint or the canvas can sense fear?
Yes.
And will fight
They're
back?
like dogs. They're like dogs that way.
Okay. So be brave.
Be brave.
Just go in.
Just go in confidently. Don't let it see your fear. I like that. I like that. Good idea. Get some of the yellow. Back over some of these with the yellow. See, now this is where I can go back over some of that white, tone it down a little bit with some yellow green, but with that white underneath, now we get a little bit more contrast. We've got that color underneath that's counteracting that black, because there's so much black there. It's hard to get these brighter colors to show up unless you have a little bit of white underneath. So that white will give us a little bit of something to play with. Okay, I'm going to leave that one. I think that one's good enough. And let's go ahead and get some, I'm going to get some burnt sienna and some yellow this time. Maybe do a little bit of brownish tones in these leaves, like a little bit of a warmer yellow. What that'll do is give us kind of some relief for all of this brightness that's going on everywhere. If you've got kind of a neutral color that you can pop in every now and then, it really helps with these really dramatically bright, colors to relieve your eye. If everything was super bright and over the top, vivid, your eye would not kind of be directed to where, you want it to go. It would kind of not know where to look. So by doing this, we can kind of go, okay, this is what we want you to focus on, and kind of mix it a little bit. I don't know. It's just a good habit.
Yeah, it looks like you're leaving plenty of space there for my eyes to breathe as I'm looking at it.
Shut up. I knew you were going to say that.
Of course. I mean, it's an important thing for people to know. You don't want their eyes to suffocate.
No. Mm-mm. I use some of this on this leaf here too.
Sorry, it's one of my better, one of my more favorite
ongoing jokes,
art descriptions that you gave.
Yeah, I think I only said that one time.
Yeah, but I've said it like 101 or 401 maybe.
Yeah. Okay, so right here, it's going to be real important when you're kind of getting into these areas where they're going to be overlapping to kind of just lift off, bring it close and lift off and let it drag so you get that jaggedy line. That's going to give us the illusion that that's going down into the dark. Now, if you can't get that and you do paint it in a little bit solid, you can always go back in with a little bit of black and cover it up. So it's fine if you don't get it when you first try. No big deal, but kind of help the effect if you do that. And again, like this area is going to be in the dark, so I'm not going to do too much of it. And really this area is our yellows, so I'm going to get some of this neutral. Sorry for the dog squeaky toys in the background. I don't know if they can hear it. They probably can't hear it like we can.
Yeah, just barely.
Barely.
Every once in a while, but not too bad.
Fitz Pickles, the cutest dog ever. Can hear Spencer's. Fitz. Cute. Excuse me. Yellows on this side. This side is more the teal. This side over here is more the yellow and red, the warmer colors. So just pulling from where you put the brush down first is where it's going to be a little bit thicker. And then if you just drag it and kind of flick it out, Mark had a hard time when we were doing our swan getting this technique, but
I was doing that on purpose just so that you'd come behind me and reach around and help me paint.
I'll fix it for you.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no. I'm deliberately like, teacher, I need your help.
You're welcome. All right, go ahead. Sorry. Yes, on the swan video. For sure.
So you just, just practice it. It's just going to take a little bit of practice, but you can get it. Going to get some of that brighter yellow here, white and yellow. And I may not always kind of mention the mixtures I'm doing, kind of going quickly, but you can see from the palette what, so it may help you if you want to take notes, and because usually when I make a mixture like this one, I'll tell you when I first make the mixture and then I won't mention it again. I'll just continue to, pull back into it. And so sometimes people get frustrated with me because I'm not repeating myself over and over again, but I don't really do that. I just assume that you kind of got it the first time and know that mixture was the blue and burnt sienna with grain, So if you are painting along, it may help to just take notes. And that way you won't leave me a mean note later. So that's all about. Okay. Getting some of this darker teal and right in here along that stem. I kind of took out all that black. So I'm just going to put some of that back in there, get a little bit of the black, a little bit of the blue and green. And this is also a color that you could use in your dark areas down here where it disappears a little bit. Add a little bit of this dark green. Oh, and then the Monstera have these holes in the leaves. So if you want to get creative, you could come back up here and add a hole or two. You wanted to. They're kind of in the in-between areas here. So wasn't in my photograph, but I do like that part of the leaves. And they're not symmetrical, so you could just do them on one side. Well, actually, they kind of are symmetrical. So if you do it on one side, you probably need to do it on the other side. Take that back. I'm looking at a separate photo. So I kind of don't like the ones in the middle, so I'm going to take those out. Just let the ones just do ones. Set of them instead of three. There we go. Maybe make smaller ones there. Okay. Totally up to you. Put them in, don't put them in. Won't hurt my feelings.
Well, that's good to know.
Whatever you want to do. Using this dark to kind of counteract that area there. Fun. I'm telling you, these kind of paintings really fun. You gotta try them. Gotta try them. Okay, getting some of the turquoisey colors. I got all three of these colors on here. So these are kind of the brighter. I did not add the burnt sienna this time, so it's a little bit brighter. I'm gonna widen out this leaf a little bit, just because I can. Get a little bit of the white. Don't have a lot of paint in my brush, and that's the way. And I'm really pressing down when I load my brush so that I've got a nice edge. If your brush is really bushy and full, you're not going to be able to get these thin lines. You're not going to be able to control it as well. So I'm pressing it to a fine point so that I can get these smaller detailed kind of brush strokes that I'm doing here. And having less paint on here also lets me get these kind of choppier, kind of thinner broken lines that I'm getting. Okay. And the white just makes them look shiny. So this white detail that we're doing here. It helps add a little bit of shine. Okay. Pretty happy with that. Now this brush, this leaf here, got a lot of this turquoisey color in it. Get some burnt sienna this time. Maybe leave it a little bit more blue than green. Use the same colors, but just using them in different ways in different places. And I just say that the thicker paints make it a little bit easier to get these kind of broken lines. It's a little bit harder to do the dry brush type stuff with the craft paints. It's not impossible, but you definitely have to use a lot less paint to on your brush to get that look. So just kind of keep that in mind. It may be a little bit more difficult. I do have a video called How to Paint with Different Types of Acrylics that you may find helpful if you're trying to paint this with like a craft acrylic, which is just, you know, the cheaper acrylics that you can get at the craft stores. Just going back in and defining some of these black areas here. some of the white now. Go right up to that edge of the these squared off ends are really gonna make that Monstera look that we're going for. So make sure you have some of those. Okay, and then I'm gonna go back in with my yellow, my white. And just lay along that edge there. Add some of this color in a couple places. Okay, I'm going to use some of this bright yellow over here on this one. Right, let me use some of this color in there. Okay. I'm too far away from the mic.
Yeah, you're getting softer.
Okay, thank you. All right, just adding some highlights there. I'm going to use the yellow and burnt sienna color. Again, make sure those mix up some more of that. Look at how pretty that is, that color. So this is just more of the burnt sienna instead, or more of the yellow, I guess, instead of the burnt sienna. That first time I added more burnt sienna than yellow, and it kind of was more of an olive tone. This one's got a little bit more of the orange. Really pretty. Let's go ahead and use it in a couple other places. Whenever you mix up a new color, I always like to use it in multiple other places, and that ties it into the rest of the painting. Seems like somebody's gone to puppy jail. Get some wailing happening in the other room.
Any gnashing of teeth?
Life's hard when you're being separated from your pack. Okay, so this leaf is going to be over the top of this one. So I'm just going to paint this one in and not worry about that leaf right now. And then I'm going to paint that one in later. Get some green. Do some brighter green with this one. And if your if your green seems a little bit bright, you can just add a little bit of the burnt sienna or a little bit of the magenta. One of those will kind of kill the color a little bit, kill the intensity, and make it a little bit more natural looking. But I don't mind the bright colors too much. It's kind of, this one is all about that neon kind of color, right? Really fun. And I have not cleaned out my brush, so I'm just, you can see how many colors I have on here. But I'm not pressing down too hard, so it's not really making any difference. But if I was wanting like a super clean color, like when I'm going to go to do the magenta, say, I'll definitely want to clean my brush out then. But these colors are all kind of in the same color family, all these blues and greens and yellows. They're all kind of mixable, into one another. So they're not going to hurt anything by just kind of using what's on my brush. And that middle line there was a little bit much there. So I'll get a little bit of the green, mix it with that orange color that we've got going on. And sometimes I'm just going to lay in some color, maybe get some of this color, and just maybe, do a little color in the background, suggesting that there's something there, but that we really can't tell what it is. So. Take that one out. Okay, before I do much more, I'm gonna get all this white off of these ones. It's hard to tell what you're doing. You've got the white around it. Just using plain old water here on my towel to wipe it off gently. Can use some of the turquoise, green, blue, and be a little bit of black and burnt sienna. And then add some white to it. Need that darker color. And this is where I can go in here where I've got these dark black areas, add this turquoisey dark instead of just black. Add a little bit of color, a little bit more interest than just plain old black. Right up to the line there on these ones, adding a little highlight right up on that line. That'll pull that part forward. Anytime you're putting a highlight down, it's going to pull it, draw the eye forward, or draw the object forward. So I want this to look like it's kind of raised up a little bit right there in the center. Just put the highlight there, and then this part maybe is where it's raised up on this leaf. Keep on going and go back down to the part that I was working on down here. So these ones are a little bit big for me to be, or this brush is a little bit big for these little leaves here. So I'm going to probably need to switch to a smaller brush here. But I always like to use the biggest brush that I can fit into an area. It just makes things go faster, and it helps keep you from getting too bogged down in the smaller details. Right, so then just put this leaf over the top of that one. Remember, it's supposed to be in front, so I'm just going to do that right here. Right there, like that. Okay, any questions? I'm kind of quiet.
No questions.
Well, hopefully that means things are going all right.
You can still paint on.
Paint on. Proceed.
Yes. Go with fourth.
Use 2-aught here. Okay, just using this to do some light outlining, but I'm not like being super careful about the outline. I'm just kind of keeping it light and loose. Actually, that part of the leaf kind of starts to get dark as it's going down around that corner, so I'm going to darken it back up. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and go back over this center line here and kind of dab in some random highlights. I've already done it there. And some highlights on these ones. And the highlights are going to draw attention though, so if you want to keep it kind of to a minimum on these ones that are on the outskirt that we don't really want to be our focal point. So I'm going to put a few highlights in here, but I'm not going to do too many. Too much water there. Okay, so I think I'm going to grab that number, the short filbert here. I'm going to start adding the magenta. These are going to be just kind of our focal point, like, pops of color. So I'm going to keep these kind of to a minimum, be real strategic about where we put them. And we've already laid down all this other groundwork of these colors, so it's just going to be add some interest. Added a little bit of white to this just to make it show up. The magenta is very dark on its own, so if you just added it on top of here, it'd be probably a little too dark. Although we can probably, let's go ahead and add it in down here, kind of in our shadow areas. You can leave this part out if you don't like it. It's up to you if you're painting. Add more blues. Anything that mixes well with what we've got going on here, so. A lot of things you could do with this. Just a little bit of it down here, not as much. These outskirts. I haven't painted this one yet, so I need to do this one. Grab that. Don't have any left. It's drying so quickly on me. Grab some turquoise here. And this one in general is just pretty dark, so I'm gonna have to do a whole lot to it. A lot of it's in shadows. A little bit of the yellow and the green, the white. The highlight areas are over here where it's kind of coming out into the light. So this area in here is pretty dark. Okay. Add some of this turquoise over here. And then now really it's just a matter of kind of where do I want to draw attention? Where might I need a little bit more? I'm going to kind of fix this leaf. I don't really like how it's shaped. So I'm going to kind of go around it and make it a little smaller. I never did use any of this unbleached titanium here. Get some yellow and some of the white. Putting in this color where I want some of the leaves to pop up towards us. So right along there. And really at any point that you're happy with yours, just go and stop. Doesn't have to be as much detail as I'm putting into mine. Getting some Cobalt Teal now, just using that to add some detail here.
Well, you alluded to it earlier during the drawing portion of the show about Patreon. And just want to remind everybody that this Sunday is the September bonus video for the $5 and above patrons.
Yes.
And I'm going to do some magic here and show the video or the picture.
Oh, okay.
That cow.
That's what we're painting.
Right there.
On Sunday.
On Sunday. Sunday.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so we will not be here on Saturday on the YouTube.
Yep.
But on Patreon, cast on Sunday, then back on next Tuesday on YouTube.
Yes.
According to my calendar.
Yes, it's correct. Are correct, sir.
Thank you.
Grab some phthalo blue here. Just going to add some phthalo blue. I've got white in my brush still. Look how pretty that blue is. Use it over here too.
Whispering.
Sorry. Shh, don't tell it. It's where we use it.
Gonna put something I wanted right over here. It's sleeping.
Shh, don't tell it.
It's gonna
wake up on it.
What the heck? Who just painted me blue?
I don't know why I do that. Ooh, this is fun. Okay, so we're almost done here. Okay, just fixing this leaf that we kind of edited a bit. All right. Some bright yellow green some places here, just to kind of go forward that color. blue-green along that stem there. I'll clean up that stem line on either side a little bit. Okay. Now, if we want the pink area to be even brighter, what we can do is go in with a little bit of a pop of white. So just a few. I don't want it too much. I see some pink areas, and I'm just noticing that it's not quite as bright as in the photograph. So we'll let that dry a minute. I'm going to get a little bit of green, yellow, maybe some cobalt teal. Add a little bit more detail to these leaves up here. They look a little neglected. Kind of resolve some of the highlights and forms there. And that one turned out being neon. Phthalo green, phthalo blue here. Get a turquoise. Make this dark and go right up to that leaf there. Add back in some dark shadows. Grabbed a little bit of black too. It's real easy when you're putting all these light colors on to kind of lose your dark areas. So I was kind of at the very end of my paintings, kind of look at it and see if I've lost all my contrast. And I tend to do that. So then I put that back in. So put back in some of these really dark colors to beef up that contrast. Make sure I've got some depth in all my color areas. You can use glaze to do it too if you want to leave your color underneath showing. That's what we're going to do with that pink here in a minute. Use some transparent glaze of color. This should be dry now. Just waiting for that white to dry. I'm going to get a little bit of the magenta, full strength, no white. Magenta is already transparent, so this is going to make it really easy to do this glaze. Getting some glazing medium or just plain water if you don't have glazing medium, and going over your white area. To go over my yellow area, I'm going to make some oranges, which actually kind of don't mind. So I think I'm going to use a little bit of it on some of my yellow areas too. But you see how much more vivid that is than what we had before. Makes it like a neon pink color. I'm going to grab a little bit of the yellow, make a more of a medium toned orangey color. Go back in with some of that. A little bit of that orange, which we got a little bit of it in here already, but all right, I'm gonna, well, actually, I was gonna quit, but I actually want to do a little bit more of this cobalt teal. I feel like it needs a little bit more of that turquoise color, so I'm gonna pop some of this cobalt teal in a couple places.
No one believes you anyways.
No. I say I'm done. Well, I don't have the benefit of like stepping away and looking at it from a distance, you know, like that's what I would normally do when I got to the end of a painting. I thought it was done. Is just kind of step away, take a look at it, see if there's anything I want to change before I put away my paints, you know. A lot of times you'll see things a little bit differently if you kind of take a step back. So it's a good habit to get into, even as you're in the middle of your process of painting. Doing that will help you kind of develop good habits of, you know, kind of paying attention to values and things and have less to fix later if you kind of catch things early. A little bit of yellow green in there. I'm loving this painting. Isn't this fun? Really fun.
Could you define fun? Can you use it in a sentence?
Painting this Monstera is the most fun I've had all week. How's that?
Are there any alternative pronunciation?
Using turquoise here. Just glazing with the green and phthalo blue. And you realize I want a little bit more of this turquoise color to be coming out. I'm seeing a lot of green, but I'm not seeing this turquoise. So just adding that as a glaze. You can always kind of alter your colors pretty easily later and after. As long as you get your values on, you can go back over colors. Change them up a little bit. Ooh, look at that purple that happened when I added it over the top of that magenta. It's kind of interesting too. Okay, and there is some water drops on some of them in our photograph, which I'm not sure if we want to put on or not. But I might do one right in here. So let's just go ahead and do that. I'm gonna get some of this turquoise and black. You just want a darker version of whatever your main color is here. I'm going to go up underneath, add a shadow underneath, and then wipe my brush off and just tap off that edge. Have the dark part right up here, up against the thing, and then just using just a little bit to complete that circle, okay? Then I'm going to grab some white and add some water, and then maybe a little bit of yellow, because that's kind of our color there, right? Maybe a little bit of that turquoise. Just whatever color you've got underneath, right? With a little bit of the white. Right. Watered it down so it's kind of thin. And I'm going to put it right up next to that dark color. And the watery color will kind of give you a little bit of time to play with it. I'm just tapping it around, pushing it around, and pulling it towards the center. And I'm just going to use my finger to kind of dab off a little bit. Kind of lost the top edge of my water droplet. But I want that bottom edge to be a little bit dark or a little bit brighter. So I'm going to get a little bit more white. And this time, a little bit stronger. Just go right up against that. There we go. Right there. Okay. Then just use this white. I'm going to flatten my brush out a little bit. A little bit of the watery color and just do my highlight on this end here. Okay. Do as many of those as you want. Do them in whatever size shape you want. Should I do some more? What do you think? One more?
Somebody in chat said one. Yeah, right.
Hey, now.
You're an all-star. Get the show on. Get paid. Oh, sorry. You want to go in that direction.
Okay, we'll do kind of a one that's kind of dropping off the sleeve here. It's kind of falling down here. Kind of roll downhill. Do that white. Mix it with a little bit of that color there. This area is a little bit darker green under here. Wipe that off and just blend that out a little bit, just like we did with the black. And get a little bit brighter color. And go again right here, kind of right in the middle of that. Then get that bright color again. And do my highlight at the top. I might put another dot in that one. These are really fun to do. We'll do one more and then we'll be done. Because you need to have 3. If you're going to do more than one, you need to at least have 3. Because you want to do things in multiples. We'll do a small one right here. Little baby one. Put the color on, then dab, dab, dab. Pull it out. And then use that lighter color to finish off your circle. Highlight color right along that edge of the dark. Now the little ones can be tricky. Get a lot less space to work with, so you may have to do subtractive and just kind of pull off some of the color like I'm doing here. That looks good. And then I'm going to do a bright white highlight on this guy right there. All right. Done. We're done. I'm going to use this brush to sign it. Grab some of the turquoise color. White. Super chat. Hey.
Super chat time. Let me turn things off here.
Make sure you add water to your paint as you're doing the signature. It'll make it a little bit easier. And I'm choking up real tight on it and using it like a pen. So, okay, go. Sorry.
The super chat tonight was from Kristen, and she said, "Thank you both for everything you do and give to the community."
Oh,
with some heart emojis and
thank you,
smileys
Kristen.
and stuff. So, yes, thank you, Kristen. We appreciate the support. It's awesome. And thanks to all the normal chatters out there, all the unusual suspects with us, and several new faces.
Oh, great.
Yes,
we really have fun getting to hang out with you guys. It's a highlight of our week. It really is. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Thanks a lot.
What? You say it is too, so I'm not the only one.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, I just thought I was kind of boring there or something. It's like, thank goodness for these shows, because my gosh, my life would be so boring. You just don't know.
It's sad how true that is. Going back in with some white. Now that I've got the white on here, I was like, we really need a little pop of white here and there. So I'm just going to do just a few.
And if this is your first Angela Anderson video, done is not done. So please do.
Even after I sign it, it doesn't mean that the video is going to end. So you may want to stick around a few minutes.
Yeah.
Just in case. She's going to finish. She's going to change something.
So if you click the show more and down below this video is a list of all of the supplies that are used, canvas size, paints, links to the brush guides to buy brushes, Blick, Amazon, Teespring to buy masks and other art-related Angela art stuff.
Yeah.
And also all the social media links. There's a Facebook group, Thankful Art, that you can join. It's a what moderated Facebook site.
Yeah, it's private.
So no meanies allowed?
Nope, no meanies.
So you can have a safe place to share.
Yep, share the paintings that you're doing for my tutorials. Right now, it's not open to other artists. So if you want to share your art with me, otherwise, you can tag me on one of my social media things. But it's not in my Facebook group. That one's just so that I can find stuff easily. So it's just my stuff in there. Just from my tutorials, so that those who are painting along can share it with me and I can see it. And I don't always get the chance to comment on all of them, but I do look at them. So I appreciate those who go in there and hang out and get some really neat people in those groups. That
a lot of great people,
really encouraging,
all over the world.
Yes,
such great artists.
That is the amazing thing.
Yep.
All right, I think I'm going to quit there while I'm dead. And okay, I mean it this time.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Yeah, come back next time. We'll be doing this again next week, and hope you join us for that. And okay.
Holy moly! Are you serious?
Just black right there. Right there.
Is that a brush in your hand again?
What?
What?
La la la.
And a reminder again, Patreon bonus video this Sunday, and also with the third installment for the $10 group on Thursday.
No, we're not.
The second, you're not. Oh, that's
meeting this Thursday because I've got a doctor's appointment.
And I'm off.
Yes, Mark's got the day off. He's going with me to Little Rock.
Okay, very good.
If you get too much in here, that's one thing I just noticed. If you get, too much of any of this, I didn't mention it. I meant to. You can just take your black and that glaze and just go over it, go over those ends and see how it'll darken those up and make them kind of disappear into the darkness. So that's a good thing to do right there on the ends.
And that kind of reinforces what we said earlier about painting your canvas black. So you can do this.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Because if you had it gessoed, you wouldn't be able to do this. So,
just so you know,
darker there. All right, and I think I want to do it up here too because these.
I'm going to. You go ahead, turn off yourself.
Okay. I'm almost done. Just going to darken up these one here. I did them all the same value, and they're just too noticeable. So I'm just going to darken the one up on the end here. There we go. Just glazing over them. Pushing them back into the distance a little bit. There we go. Maybe do the same with this one. See that? Okay, now I'm done. For real this time. I mean it.
Until I hit the outro, you are not done.
I'm done.
So.
I'm done. I'm hands off. Hands off.
Yeah, you already did that once.
Brushes in the water. There we go. They're all done. My hands are tied here. I'll put my hands behind the bed. All right, guys. Thanks. Have a great rest of your week. And we'll see you next time. Bye.